Hey, everybody. David Swor here once again with DJ Cocks for another episode of Frenemies. And this is probably our most anticipated team of the year. It's a team on the rise, the best team in Chicago. And we are joined tonight by Lady Red Slugger, Lindsey Cocks. Lindsey, it's good to have you on the show tonight.
Thank you.
So let's talk some White Sox. I know DJ couldn't wait. He's declared his undying love for him in a Facebook post. I should have had that here to show everybody. So DJ, last year was a great year for the White Sox. They had the rebuild going, and they peaked out a little earlier than everybody thought. So why don't you guys tell us about the 2020 Chicago White Sox?
You want to go first on this one, Lindsey?
Yeah, sure.
Go for it.
All right, so the White Sox had their first winning season since 2012, and they returned to the postseason for the first time since 2008. And they also turned a corner big time in their rebuild.
Oh, yeah. So some big seasons, DJ. I know you're going to love talking about this. My boy Jose Abreu, MVP, 19 homers, 60 RBIs. Eloy Jimenez, 14 homers, 41 RBIs. Luis Robert, 11 homers, 31 RBIs. Tim Anderson, 10 homers, 21 RBIs with the high batting average as usual. They're going to be unstoppable, DJ. Just admit it.
Yep.
I cannot, but I could talk a little bit about this 2020 squad. That was the number 7 seed in the playoffs. So a normal year, they don't even sneak in. So let's not overhype this too much, guys. Number 3 in the division behind the Twins and the Indians. So pump the brakes a little bit here. All right. I mean, I know they made the playoffs, broke the streaks. Go ahead, Lindsey. What do you got to say?
Nothing.
So they lost to the A's 2-1 in the AL wildcard round. Used 9 pitchers in Game 3, guys. 9 pitchers. And it honestly cost Ricky Renteria his job, unfortunately. It really did. Game 3 was the dagger for him, unfortunately. I really like Ricky Renteria. I think he did a great job for the Cubs and the White Sox. Michael Kopeck opted out and would have been the man who would have took the ball in Game 3. Okay, I know I talked about this a lot with the White Sox, but that's how big of a piece he is to this puzzle. The Sox in 2020, guys, were 2-8 versus the Indians. That really hurt them. 1-2 versus the Reds and 1-2 versus the Cardinals. Those are the teams they struggled with. They did beat up on the Royals and the Tigers, going 9-1 versus each of those teams. So they played really well against those two. They split the series with the Cubs 3-3. We talked about this in the Cubs podcast. That needs to be a 5-game series. That way there's a true winner in that, and it's not a 7-game series to where it's like watered down. There's too many games. So really hope they do that in the future. And then split who hosts the 3 games every single year, kind of mix it up that way. So, I don't know. Honestly, if these guys had Kopeck last year, they would have won the division because Ronaldo Lopez would not have started, and he went 1-3 with a 6.49 ERA, and they would have also beat the A's, I really believe, and they probably would have then lost in the next round, but they got a lot farther than they were. Now they're putting in the bullpen for 2021. We'll get into that later, but I just don't get it. If they would just get it together with him, they could be dangerous. They'd be a lot deeper. I think a lot of things would have gone a lot different for them last year and possibly this year with the way they're going to use him. So they were 6th in batting average, David, 5th in runs scored, 3rd in homers. So the offense was there, 8th in ERA and 13th in whip. So the starting pitching was also there. Their walks per 9 was a little bad, but they ranked in the top 10 in a lot of categories, both offensively and starting pitching wise. So, David, what did you think overall of the 2020 season?
I love it. What a huge step forward. And, this offseason, they just poured gas on the fire, DJ. They're looking good for this year. I'm excited about the White Sox. But yeah, man, I love to see those young players come up and bash like they did. It was cool seeing Giolito kind of take the next step. He threw a no-hitter last year, which was pretty cool. So, man, as you know, I am very high on the 2021 White Sox. So, Lindsey, why don't you tell us what the projected lineup's going to look like for the 2021 White Sox?
All right, so I have Yasmani Grandal batting first. Then we have Jose Abreu batting second. We got Tim Anderson third, Yohan Moncada fourth, Eloy Jimenez fifth. Okay, so normally Adam Engel would be like sixth in the batting order, but he is hurt right now and he won't be ready for the start of the season. So Lewis Robert would be sixth. Seventh is Adam Eaton. Eighth is Nick Madrigal, and DH would be Andrew Vaughn. Oh my goodness, Vaughn.
So we just got news yesterday, DJ. My boy Eloy's going to be out for a while, like 6 months. So how are they going to go by replacing that big bat?
Well, I think that, the Adams are going to have to step up now. Both the Adams, I think, are going to step into those spots and try to save the outfield a little bit. That is a huge loss to this offense. 5 to 6 months is no joke. That is, if not all the season, the regular season, it's a good chunk of it and a very big chunk indeed. So Adam Engel and Adam Eaton are going to have to step in there and play bigger roles. Engel was kind of your guy that was going to bounce around and give the other outfielders a little bit of rest there with this lineup. So I don't know, man. I think Tim Anderson, he was 10 bombs, 21 ribbies last year, 322 batting average, 357 on base. Eaton was 417 with 226 average, 285 on base. Grandal was 8 bombs, 27 ribbies, 230, 351 on base. Abreu's season was 19 bombs, 60 ribbies, 317 average, 370 on base. Phenomenal. Eloy, who we just talked about, 14, 41, 296, 332, solid season. Moncada was 624, 225, 320 on base. Luis Robert was 1131, 233, 302. Zach Collins and Andrew Vaughn are the two guys penciled in. I've seen in DH spot there. You kind of hit that on the head there, Lindsey. I'm not too sure which way they're going to go on that. And then Madrigal, David's man crush, Mr. Top 10 second baseman there. Is penciled in. So I don't know, David. What do you think overall of that offense? And it changes obviously with Eloy out of there now. It's not as strong, obviously, but what do you think?
Definitely not as strong. And you know what I think the White Sox should do? I don't think they should take their foot off the gas. I think they ought to go look at my boy Yoenis Cespedes, or they could look at getting Edwin Encarnacion back. I would not stand pat. I don't have a lot of faith, just to be honest with you, in the guy that's going to be replacing Eloy. His name just slipped me, and I'm not seeing it right here in front of me. Give me his name again.
Adam Engel. Yep.
Adam Engel. He's kind of been around for a little bit, a couple years, and not done much. I know he's a fan favorite from what I understand.
Yep. But
man, I don't know. That's just such a big hole. I think they ought to look to try to fill that elsewhere personally. But it's still a good lineup. It's probably still the best lineup in their division. It's definitely better than the Indians for sure. So it's still probably the best lineup in their division. And they made some good additions to that pitching staff too. So let's talk about that a little bit here. So they went for it, and I love moves like this. They picked up one of the best pitchers in the league, Lynn. Why don't you run down that rotation for us there, DJ?
You got it, man. So Lucas Giolito is your ace at 4-3 last year with a 3.48 ERA, 97 Ks in 72 innings. That's outstanding. Dallas Kykel was 6-2 with a 1.99, 42 Ks in 63 innings. David's choice for the Cy Young last year in the American League. Not a fan.
Wait.
Yeah, he picked.
Not really.
No.
He wasn't better than Bieber. I was just making the case that he's very underrated, and he should have got more votes. He definitely should have got more votes. You don't have a 1.99 ERA, and I think he ended up, was it fourth in the voting or something? I mean, I know strikeouts are the thing right now, but hey, the dude's a pitcher, and he's clutch too, by the way. So I was just shocked he didn't get more votes than he got.
1.99 is a solid ERA. Lance Lynn is their 3 starter, who last year for the Rangers was 6-3 with a 3.32, 89 Ks in 84 innings. Dylan Cease, 5-4, 4.01 ERA, 44 Ks, 58.1 innings pitched. And Carlos Rodon is winning the 5th spot right now, 0-2 with an 8.22 ERA, 6 Ks, and 7.2 innings pitched, as he was obviously hurt for a little while there. So that is a starting rotation, David. What are your honest thoughts of that 5-man rotation there? What do you think?
We're a starter short, DJ. That's what I think. I think we're just a starter short. So I haven't been reading up on this very much, and maybe you guys can fill me in. I just can't believe Kopeck is going to sit in that bullpen all year. I just don't believe it. I think they're going to try to build him up, which honestly is a pretty smart move in my opinion. Maybe he'll be the long relief guy, or maybe he'll piggyback maybe with Rodon a little bit, but I fully expect Kopeck to take that back over. But man, how could you argue with this rotation now? Like I said, Giolito's a stud, Kykel's a stud, and I love me some Lance Lynn, innings eater. I know you don't respect innings eaters, DJ. You like these guys that pitch like 3 shutout innings, and then that's good enough for you. But I still respect the guy that can go 7 innings and have an ERA in the low 3s. So I think it's exactly what they needed. And hey, watch out for this bullpen too. So according to, I believe it was Fangraphs, they got the best bullpen in the league now. So that rotation, it just needs to be pretty good, because they're going to make it happen in the bullpen. So we'll see. So let's talk some offseason moves, guys. It was a pretty busy offseason for the White Sox. They had them coming and going, to be honest with you. So DJ, why don't you run down the additions and subtractions for the White Sox?
You got it. Adam Eaton. Spanky has joined the team again, Lindsay. Are you a fan of Adam Eaton, Lindsay?
Kind of. I like Adam Engel more, but
yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. It really does. Like, Engel kind of got thrown on the bench when they signed Eaton, and a lot of White Sox fans didn't really feel that, because Engel's got great defense, right, Linz?
This one didn't feel it. This White Sox fan didn't feel it.
Didn't feel that either.
He's got speed too. Engel does, but
that's a very good point. I really feel like White Sox fans were kind of mixed on this a little bit. They wanted him back, but not at the expense of Engel. So it'll be interesting to see now that Eloy's down, that he'll probably just step in there and it won't even be a thing anymore. But Jonathan Lucroy from the Phillies will be one of their backup catchers now. Lance Lynn is my pickup of the offseason for them. 104 and 71 in his career, David, with a 3.57 ERA. He's got 1,415 Ks and 1,426 innings, almost a K an inning guy. He's an all-star one time, top 6 in Cy Young voting twice in both 2019 and 2020. So those are the last 2 years. He's been phenomenal. Over 200 innings pitched. I threw this in for you, David, 3 times in his career. ERA over 4, only 2 times in his career in that 9-year career. So 7 out of the 9, he's been in the 3s or 2s with the ERA. So great pickup there. Liam Hendricks is the closer they got this year from the A's. Had the best season at any reliever in baseball last year. Tim Beckham comes over from Seattle. Marco Hernandez from the Red Sox, and Billy Hamilton comes over from the Cubs. So, Lindsay, what do you think of the moves that they made?
I think that it's pretty good. I mean, they've gotten pretty far, but I think they still could have gotten a little bit more. But that's just me. But
I actually totally agree, Lindsay. Totally agree. I think they went pretty far, but maybe not far enough. I mean, I love the moves that they did make, but I don't get the Eaton move at all. I didn't get it when they did. Now, DJ, you liked it if I remember right. You're an Adam Eaton fan, but I just don't get it, man. He's had some good years. You know who he reminds me a lot of, which he had a good year last year? He reminds me a lot of A.J. Pollock.
Yeah.
It seems like the talk is more than what's usually on the field, if I'm being honest. Everybody talks about what good players those two guys are, but they're sporadic, man. And I just was not in love with that move at all, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think it was a very interesting move, and there was a lot of talk when they got him, David, like about him not being a clubhouse guy. Like, apparently when he was with the White Sox the first go around, like, he was not liked very much by some of the guys in the clubhouse. And it's very interesting that they brought him back. The Nationals, apparently, like, he got along good with those guys, but Something
Yeah.
didn't work out there with the White Sox. He was kind of fighting them a little bit. Is that true, Lindsey? Is he kind of the same thing you're hearing?
Yeah, but like, I don't understand why the Nationals let him go. I mean, I'm not complaining or anything, but I don't understand that. But I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of weird for them to get rid of him, no doubt. And the White Sox kind of picked up on him and wanted him back. And to be honest with you, thought that they were to use him in kind of a utility role and use Engel as a starter. And Eaton was kind of your guy that comes in and comes off the bench. But they wanted him as a starter, and I wasn't too sure about that one, but I did like the move and thought it was pretty good. So out of all those guys, David, which one did you like the best as far as who they picked up?
Yeah, it's definitely Lance Lynn.
mhm.
You know, I'm a little tepid, just to be honest with you, on the Liam Hendricks signing. I would have just been cool with them signing Colomé again. I know that's not taking anything away from Hendricks, but Colomé was awesome last year. Awesome. And Hendricks is not going to be any better. Not as good as Colomé was last year. And they could have had Colomé for about half the money. You know, again, I'm not taking anything away from Hendricks. He might be the man, but I did not understand them letting Colomé go so easily, which maybe they knew something we didn't. But Lance Lynn is the man. I think he's so underrated. I think people are starting to come around. I looked him up the other day. You know, the Yankees had him for just a minute after his injury. And I think those 2 years that he was injured kind of tainted people's view of him or something, because, man, he's been good for a while now. I mean, close to a decade, if I'm not mistaken. He's been good. So hats off to them. Great trade. I know that hurt giving up Dunning, but this is what teams that want to win do, and I think it's going to really help them. So DJ, why don't you tell us about some of what they lost?
So the guys who the guys who are super happy to leave the worst franchise in baseball are the following players.
Come on.
Nomar Mazara goes to the Tigers. Edwin Encarnacion is a free agent. That's interesting. 424 career homers, David. I'm really rooting for him to stick it out, man, and try to get like 20 homers for the next 3 or 4 years as a DH and get to 500, because that guy's impressive to say the least. James McCann was a big loss to the Mets. Nicky Delmonico to the Reds. Yolmer Sanchez to the Orioles. Jared Dyson to the Royals. Ryan Goins to the Braves. Cheslor Cuthbert to the Reds. Dane Dunning to the Rangers, as you mentioned, David. Alex Colomé to the Twins. Steve Cishek to the Astros. Gio Gonzalez to the Marlins. Ross Detweiler to the Marlins as well. Ian Hamilton to the Twins. Kelvin Herrera is a free agent currently. Drew Anderson to the Rangers. And Brady Lyle to the Mariners. So they lost a lot of guys that played with them on the major league level last year. Of all those guys, to be honest with you, I think James McCann is the biggest shot that they took. As far as, you know, I really like the double-headed monster they had at catcher there, where they would use Grandal and McCann there. I thought that was really strong to have those two catchers. Now they've only got one of them. They've kind of platooned some of them in the DH spot here when they wanted to give, especially they put Grandal there in the DH spot when those two were in the lineup together. But they've lost that. You know, they're going to rely more on Yasmani a little bit more this year. So I don't know. I think he was, of all the guys that they lost, the biggest shot that they'll take. So what do you think, Lindsey? Do you think that was the biggest shot that they'll take, or which guy do you miss the most out of all those?
I agree. It was a big loss. And I think another one was Edwin and Carcion. Carcion. Oh my goodness. Edwin and Carcion.
Yep. Yeah, he was tough too. What do you think, David?
Again, that Colomé, man. But I don't know. I just have a bad feeling about that one for whatever reason. I just have a bad feeling about it. They are going to miss McCann. He was a big part of that team, and I honestly look for Edwin Encarnacion to pick up with somebody, and I think it could be the White Sox, man. I mean, if Vaughn comes out and stumbles, now they need somebody. If he doesn't or if he doesn't do well, but if everything I'm hearing in the spring, I haven't looked at his spring stats, but in the beginning, Vaughn was mashing. So I don't know if that's continued or not. So I think that was their number one prospect. He's just buried behind Jose Abreu, and so now's his chance, and it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I think I think that Colomay deal, again, it kind of worries me just because he'd been so good so long. And if Hendricks were to stumble, we've seen a lot of those closer signings go south. Matter of fact, the Cubs got one of those guys right now in the back of the bullpen. So we'll see. We'll see, DJ. We'll see how it goes. So what do you guys have for some position battles to keep an eye on?
You got any, Lindsey?
Yep, I do. There's Jonathan Lucroy versus Zach Collins for backup catcher. That's the hit one right now. Jonathan Lucroy is gaining fans, but Collins has a hot bat right now.
So is Collins a prospect? Or is he
Uh,
someone that's been around a while?
he's been around for, I want to say, a few years, but not long. Lucroy has been, but
As we know, those backup catchers, that's an underrated spot. Usually those guys are defensive stalwarts. They're catching the better pitchers a lot of the time. So that was a big advantage that the White Sox had last year. And, man, somebody's going to have a tough time filling McCann's shoes for sure. So what do you have, DJ?
So, man, the fifth starter is kind of worrying me now. I'm not convinced on Carlos Rodon. He got hurt. I'm telling you, David, this is the problem I have with this team right now. Like they're kind of in a spot where you could have 5 mega starters, or you can have 3 mega starters and a massive bullpen. And they've kind of gone for the 3 massive starters and a mega bullpen right now. And I'm not sure I'm loving that, man. If I could have Garrett Crochet and Michael Kopeck in my starting rotation, I am doing that 100% of the time with the top 3 guys they've got in this lineup. I don't understand this, David. You put those 2 in there and you make a 5-man rotation out of those guys. Hello. Like, I don't want to face any of them. And I'm not even mentioning Dylan Cease. So if you got those 6, unbelievable potential in that starting rotation. Now you've kind of made a little bit of a you've watered it down a little bit, so to speak. So I'm not really understanding what La Russa is going to do here with I don't get it. I know Kopeck's been out for 2 years. I get that. But it's time, man. David, they gave up Chris Sale to get this guy. So if you're not going to come in here and pitch and do what you're supposed to do, then what's the point? Like, that trade does not work out if he's not producing. And they got Yohan Moncada for him too. He's been solid, nothing super great. But when you combine the 2 of Moncada and Kopeck, that's what you gave up one of the best pitchers in all of baseball for. I don't get it. For a reliever, for a 7th inning guy and a third baseman, now it makes no sense to me. Like, you pencil him in that lineup, and now all of a sudden that guy throws 101 miles an hour. I don't want to face that for 7 innings. Are you kidding me? So I don't get it, man. The whole rotation right now is a battle. I don't know. Rodon to me isn't even a top 8 pitcher for them. I don't know if I'd put him in there anywhere close to that. So I'm confused by it a little bit. David, what are your thoughts? Like, am I missing something? What do you feel on this situation?
I actually don't mind it, to be honest with you, just because Kopeck is coming off, I believe it was his 2nd Tommy John, if I'm not mistaken. And he's going to have to be built up after being off all last year. And so if they used him as a starter right out of the gates, I think he'd burn up a bunch of innings, and then they'd have to sit him. So I actually don't blame him. I think they'll build him up. I think you're going to see Kopeck in the rotation for sure. I'm not sure that you're going to see Crochet, but I think you're definitely going to see Kopeck down the line. And I think this is one of those teams, again, they may try to get a 6th starter in there every so often. And so you might see, Kopeck for 3 innings here or there. I don't blame him. He's a special talent for sure. And, they need to get this right. They don't want to throw him to the wolves coming off of arm surgery and a year off. So I actually don't mind it. Now, having said that, I would have liked to seen them pick up some other starters, to audition with Rodon. Rodon's he hasn't been good in a while. I know he came up with a lot of fanfare, and this is probably like kind of his last chance, but I just would have liked to see him, maybe get some non-roster guys in there to compete with him. And I didn't see that they signed a lot of those guys. So
nope,
we'll see. Not. They're going to have the super bullpen for sure. I guess a lot of people have learned from Kevin Cash and the Rays that you can win that way. So that must be what La Russa is going to try to do. So what do you guys have as the team strengths?
You
Go ahead, Lindsay.
Okay. Hitting is one of their strengths right now. They're going to have a solid lineup this year. They're going to have a solid lineup.
I agree. And they have a lot of guys that do a lot of different things. They got the high average guys and Anderson and my boy Madrigal. And they got the thumpers in there too. Of course, Eloy's out, but Jose Abreu is the man. So I'm with you, Lindsay. I like this lineup as well. What do you think, DJ?
It's the bullpen. I mean, now that they've done, I just went on my rant. I'm not going to deny the bullpen anymore. So I was talking to my high school coach, Jim Schmidt, who is give a little shout out here too, because I know he'll listen to this one. And before they put Kopeck in the bullpen, I had heard that this is a top bullpen in all of the baseball. And I was kind of like, talk me through this because I'm not seeing it. So he talked me through it. I was a little more convinced than I was before. Now you add Kopeck in there, and all of a sudden that changes things. So I'm not going to compare them to one of the best 7th, 8th, and 9th inning things that I've ever seen in my entire life. And the nasty boys of the 90s when you had Dibble, Charlton, and Myers go out there, and it was game over. If the Reds could get 6 innings out of their starters, it was 7, 8, 9, bye-bye. You had no shot versus those 3 guys. So they've got sort of a 3-headed monster now out there in the bullpen. These guys are loaded, man. It's Hendricks. I don't want to mess with Hendricks. You got Crochet, now you got Kopeck. So those 3 guys, man, are nasty. And you go right, left, right. You mix it up like that, 7, 8, 9. Whew, that's crazy, man. I don't want anything to do with that. Evan Marshall's good down there as well. Aaron Bummer. It's loaded, man. There's so many guys down there that I feel could get them outs in the bullpen. So, like you're saying, maybe he was doing the Kevin Cash thing where he's going to go, you got 3 solid starters, you try to get what you can out of your 4 and 5, and then every night you got a bullpen that you could use about 5 of those guys to do different things with, and it's solid. I have totally changed my mind on this bullpen now that they've done this. It's legit. There's no doubt about it. It's way better than the Cubs. That's the only thing I'm going to admit is better than the Cubs. That's it. Just the bullpen.
Wow. I have to agree with you, DJ. I'm going to go with the bullpen as well. I was like you until I did some research on it. When I saw that Fangraphs prediction, I was kind of like, what? I don't get that at all because, man, we've been talking off air, for instance, about the Dodgers, how awesome their bullpen is. And I just thought there's no way they're better. But if you look down the line, man, I think they are. And I do think they're going to do the Kevin Cash thing. I think you're going to see Kopeck a lot early in games, 4th, 5th inning to get them through those bridge innings. It's going to be super interesting.
I cannot
It's
get
killing
over
you,
Kopeck. I can't do it. I can't get over Kopeck. I have too hard of a time with this. I don't understand it. Lindsay, what would you do with him? Would you start him or put him in the bullpen?
I would start him. I mean,
you would start?
Well, maybe not at the beginning of the season. Maybe closer to the end because I agree with David. And he has to heal up. He don't want to go out there and just tear it or something again. But
see, I understand that. If that's a good point, Lindsay. If you're going to do that, I mean, maybe in June or July, he's going to start starting again for them when Rodon gets hurt for the 40th time. I don't know. Maybe that makes a little more sense to me, but I don't know. I can't get over Kopeck. I'm having a hard time with that one. I know I've said this 40 times already, but it just doesn't make sense.
Well, let's talk a little bit of farm system here. So looked up their farm system. They're ranked 15th right now, and by everybody's standards, kind of in the middle of the pack. But what's interesting is their top 4 prospects are all going to be in the majors this year and play big roles, and that's Andrew Vaughn, Kopeck, Nick Madrigal, and Garrett Crochet. Mm-hmm. And so what are some prospects that you guys think could help the White Sox this year? Go ahead, Lindsay.
Andrew Vaughn can definitely help them, I think. Kopeck, obviously, but those 2.
Vaughn, he's their number 1 prospect. A lot of people have been talking about him for a pretty long time. First rounder from 2019. And he's pretty much just mashed his way up through the system. So if I'm a White Sox fan, I'm super pumped about this. I love when prospects come up, and and they're saying he projects to be a 300 hitter and 30 bombs. And DJ, if that's the truth, then there's no doubt that the White Sox are the best team in Chicago. It's not even
Mhm.
close. They will win the division if he goes 330 homers. So who's somebody you got to talk about, DJ?
If you're relying on Andrew Vaughn to save your season, you're in a lot of trouble, David.
Why would you say that?
What?
What's wrong with Andrew Vaughn?
I mean, 30 bombs and batting 300. Let's pump the brakes a little bit here. I mean, settle down. That ain't gonna
What?
happen.
What do you want him to hit? 100 home runs and have like a 1,000 batting average? Or what?
He's one of the top prospects in baseball, DJ.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, that's
It's
yet to be
better-
determined, and I guess he's gonna get a shot at DH, so or the backup catching role. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not sold on it. My prospect will also help this bullpen. He made his debut last year. He's Zach Birdy, class of 2013, Downers Grove South High School, just 5 miles away from my high school that I coach at. This kid's the electric arm. His brother Nick is on the Padres, so these both guys are in the pros right now. Crazy to think brothers are pitching in the pros, but they are. This is unbelievable. He's the class of 2013 at Downers Grove South. The 2 years, the 4 years he was at that school, they were 110 and 41 in the 4 years he was there. But here's the thing, David, like they had a two-headed monster of these guys pitching for them as starters. They only won 2 regional titles in high school together.
Oh, wow.
That goes to show you the dominance of high school baseball in Illinois. And I'm not just saying that to say that, but when you have 2 guys throwing 100 miles an hour in high school and you can only get 2 regional titles out of it, that shows you how hard it is to win in this state. It really is. It's absolutely loaded. These guys were just legit in high school. Everybody knew they were going to go pro. John Parpet, who coached at my high school, Plano, that I went to, he coached after I was there. He also coached at Downers Grove South from 2011 to 2013. So he coached both these guys. He was a head coach for them. So it's pretty cool that he got to coach those guys before he came to Plano to coach after I was there. Zach finally made his MLB debut in 2020, pitching 7 innings total, 9 earned runs he gave up, 11 Ks and 7.1 innings pitched, 0-1 record. So he is hopefully in for more of a role in 2021. It'd be awesome to see him. I know White Sox fans want to see the local guy pitch a little bit more this year for them. So Zach Birdy, if he's on, he can throw it really hard and can help this bullpen too. So what do you got, David? You got any prospects?
I want to talk about Blake Rutherford, former Yankees prospect.
Yeah.
And now he's suddenly going to be in the outfield mix, I think.
Yeah.
And so this is part of the infamous trade when the Yankees traded Blake Rutherford, Big League Chew, and a bucket of baseballs and got Todd Frazier, Tommy Kahnle, and David Robertson. It was an awesome trade. I was super pumped when the Yankees did this. It was just so great. But Rutherford has great bat-to-ball skills, DJ. He's going to hit for high average. The power hasn't quite come around, but a former first-rounder, and I think he's going to find his way on the roster at some point this season. And so it's going to be interesting. I'm kind of pulling for him. It's a prospect I've always liked. He's a big guy, but he's more of a high-average hitter. So it'll be interesting to see if Blake Rutherford can make some noise. Are you guys hearing anything about him this spring at all?
I haven't heard anything about that, but when you just brought that up, that's an interesting one. I'm gonna have to look into no doubt, because like you said, it just got interesting for the outfielders in this team. It really did. Like that opened up a huge spot for some guys to step up a little bit here. And yeah, man, that's a good one. I forgot about him, to be honest with you. So I even forgot that they had him from that trade. So good one, man. Yeah, that's definitely an open spot now to try to fill a void there. So
we'll see what happens with it. Keep an eye on him. Like I said, he's been a good prospect for a while. So, Lindsay, I'm going to turn the show over to you a little bit right here. Okay. And then we're going to come back to DJ, and we can probably talk about his coaching memories with the White Sox. But what is your favorite White Sox memory?
Are you talking about team or mine? Like,
either way, just whatever your favorite memory of the White Sox is.
One of my memories is that me, my brother, and my dad were at a White Sox game. It was against the Dodgers, and I had just gotten my I had just gotten my tooth repaired because you remember this, Dad? Because I slid into home and my helmet came off, and the guard, it hit me right in the tooth.
Ooh.
So we were at this White Sox game. I was eating a pizza, no lie, and it came out. I had just gotten it filled, and then I remember crying for hours because I was like, getting it done, like dentist work done. Oh, that was terrible. So I had to get it done twice. It was just eating a piece of
Oh
pizza.
man.
It was terrible.
So did the White Sox win the game? I got to know. And did you get any autographs that night?
I don't remember if they won or not. It was a few years
Do you remember
ago.
who was pitching on the mound for the Dodgers?
Clayton Kershaw was.
So do you think they won?
Not really.
And should have went down there with that broken tooth and really been whining for some autographs for Clayton
Oh my
Kershaw. Just
goodness.
been like, hey, look, lost my tooth today. Hook me up.
That would have been so bad. I mean, I just like half of it too because it came down and just cut it right off. It was
Hey, I'll tell you a funny tooth story real quick. It's a quick one. So one time I was running the clock at our high school baseball or basketball game, and I was running it and I was chewing some gum, and I was just chewing away, and all of a sudden it was like there was something crunchy in that gum. Like, what is that up? So I kind of spit it out, and this tooth right here, for whatever reason, just cracked right in half. I didn't even know it. So I got a big filler right there. It's so weird. The rest of the night, I had time to talk like that because I was missing half of my tooth. It was awful.
So I have a terrible habit. I just did this last week. Lindsay knows about this. So I'm sitting there. I chew my stinking nails. I've been doing it since I was a kid. And so I did the same thing. I'm like, that doesn't taste right. Like, that's kind of crunchy. And sure enough, I chipped the end of that tooth. So just last Monday, I'm in the dentist office for the second time fixing that tooth. So
he's chipped like both of his front teeth, chewing on his fingernails, chewing on chips, just filling.
Hey, next time that thing breaks, you need to leave it for a little while and grow back the stash, and then we can do a podcast together. I think that would be really good to get that on video. So DJ, I know you want to talk about some World Series champion White Sox from the past. I bet that really hurt your heart because was that 2004 when they won when was it they won the last time? 5. So that was right after the epic Cubs collapse with Bartman and Moises Alou and all that. So was that your favorite memory, the 2005 White Sox?
not even close. Man, Nicole, we had just got married that year before. She was just super hype about the White Sox in 2005. I couldn't believe that they were going to get a World Series before the Cubs did. So tough to take. But my favorite memory by far is this rivalry with the Cubs and White Sox is just next level, to be honest with you. It's a blast. It's like we all hate each other for the summer, and then when the Bears start playing again, we all come back together. It's really weird how that happens. But it's like we fight all summer, and then, hello, we're back to being friends again. So AJ Pierzynski getting punched by Michael Barrett.
Oh, come
on. Oh, yeah.
Boo. Actually, yes. I have to cheer that because I hated AJ Pierzynski. So
wow.
I don't mind.
I hate AJ Pierzynski. Yeah. I hope you're listening, AJ, and I hope you listen to this podcast. Go ahead and feel free to subscribe to our channel, AJ. We would love to have you, buddy.
Just share it. That way we can get out there. No doubt.
I don't know, man. I can't get over that fight. I also like my memories just of all the razzing over all the years between families. Like all my family is Cubs fans. All of Nicole's families is White Sox fans. So it's always been a little fight between all of us, a little razzing that always goes on. It's a topic we can always go to. So it's an absolute blast and definitely produces a lot of memories for sure. So what do you got, David? This is interesting. Oh, I know what it is. It's 2 months ago. You were just sitting here and all of a sudden you became a White Sox fan. Is that right?
Not all of a sudden. No, not all of a sudden. I've always liked the White Sox. But
I was
actually,
always shocked,
my favorite White Sox memory is really probably a downer for most. And it comes up a lot in these podcasts. I loved it when Nolan Ryan beat Robin Ventura's face in. Back in the early 90s. You know how much of a Nolan Ryan fan I am, DJ, and I love that. But other than that, on the good side, I used to love Frank Thomas, man. What like a gentleman he was, just a quiet guy. And man, it was always impressive how big he was, and obviously a Hall of Famer. So I've always liked me some Frank Thomas. DJ, did you like Frank Thomas? You had his jersey, didn't you?
I
Yes, yeah.
He did?
No,
I did not have Frank Thomas's jersey. Forget that guy. No.
I might get one for Christmas.
Yeah.
but you did have a White Sox jersey, though. You gotta admit that.
We got the picture to prove it.
Yep.
You're killing me. I don't want anything to do with that. So.
Oh, wow. Guys, being from Chicago, I'm sure one of your most visited places would have to be the White Sox Stadium. I know DJ has always loved it better than Wrigley. So you guys tell us about the White Sox stadiums.
The stadiums, they are awesome. Like, they have like these huge fireworks things that go off whenever you have home runs. I mean, the only thing that I really don't like about the stadium is that the outfield is not facing towards the city. I never understood that. Like, it's to the left of the stadium. The city is to the left of the stadium. I never understood why they didn't have the outfield towards the city, because like you could just see everything. Wouldn't that be cool? Like,
yeah, that's the trend right now. I don't know why they didn't either. So the current stadium that they're in, y'all remind me, because I don't have the information in front. What guaranteed rate? So is it newish?
It was renamed November 1st. It's 16, I believe.
Okay.
It used to be US Cellular.
Yeah, so they've been renaming this thing like 40 times since they built it.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since this one's been there, like the 90s it came along. So it's changed names probably 4 times, to be honest with you, over the years. But it's the same ballpark that's been there for a long time. The old Comiskey was there when I was a kid. I did go to that one a bunch. That one, like, you would go on the upper deck and you would feel like you're going to fall on the field. It was that steep. It was very scary. So when they built go ahead.
It had like a chain link fence, if I remember right. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was legit scary up there, man. Like, if you sat up top, you were like, don't trip and fall because you're going down kind of thing. And it had to have that there to save from people like falling over. Like, it was scary, man. And the new one, to be honest with you, within like the last like 5 years or so, we've gone to way more White Sox games than we have Cubs games, and that's not obviously
so expensive, and they're just trash. So don't go to them.
Well, not trash, but
no fun to watch unless you're watching the other team.
Yeah.
No, but it's cool, Dave, because they're great parking. You don't spend an arm and a leg to park. You go in there, you get great food. You get great seats for really cheap. Like, I can take the whole family and get out of there,
outfield
at pretty
right
reasonable price. I go to Wrigley and take the whole family. I'm taking out a mortgage for, the next 2 weeks. So it's a night and day as far as that goes. I even talked to you, David, about season ticket prices and how crazy cheap they are. How we even thought about doing that because they were so cheap. So it's a great experience. Like I said, we'll just sit there like me and Lindsey and Devin did that one time. We're like, oh my goodness, Clayton Kershaw's pitching tonight. Let's go.
That was
so you can do it. You can get in your car and you're there real quick. It's a lot easier for us to get to Comiskey than it is for us to get to Wrigley. Wrigley's a little further, and like I said, really hard to get to. We can get to the south, or whatever you call that stadium now. They've got 14 different names. We can get there really fast, and we can do a lot for really cheap. So it's a lot of fun and a good experience. And David, have you ever been?
No, but listen, this is going to happen. I need to make it happen quickly because pretty soon this is going to be a perennial contender. It's going to be packed every night.
Yep.
So I truly intend to make this happen. Maybe even this summer. I'm serious because it's really not that far to Chicago. I'm thinking it's about 10 hours. So that's a doable trip, on a weekend or something. So I might have to make this happen. So we'll
Definitely
see.
you do.
We'll see. All right, guys, it's trivia time. I got one for you both right here. Who holds the single season RBI record for the Chicago White Sox?
Ooh.
Y'all want multiple choice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll work.
All right. So is it A, Jose Abreu, B, Albert Bell, C, Frank Thomas, D, Zeke Bonura?
I'm going to have to go with probably B.
Okay.
I'm taking Albert Bell on that one.
Yeah, that's B too.
It is Albert Bell, 1998. Dude drove in 152 runs.
Yep.
He was, I'm sure, juicing, but it doesn't matter because it was fun. That's what I'm going to say about him. Albert Bell was the man. Even though I hated him for a little while, he was always a jerk, and I never liked Albert Bell. But if you drive in 152 runs, that's a pretty good season.
Yeah.
And don't go trick-or-treating at his house because he'll beat you up. Remember when he did that?
I do remember that. I do remember that. I'm sure there's more to that story that we don't know. Lindsay, you got us a trivia question?
Yep.
Okay, let's hear it.
Which White Sox player hit the first home run in New Kaminsky Park on April 21st, 1991?
See, there's your answer. 1991 is when that stadium was built, David.
Yep.
Okay. White Sox from 1991. I'm going to go. Hold on a second. Taz is destroying something behind me, so hopefully it's nothing important.
Was he ripping up the couch cushion or something?
It's really iffy. I might have to pause here in just a second. I'm going to go with Dan Pasqua.
Ooh, Danny Pasqua. Hey, let me give you a little Dan Pasqua love here. I shouldn't bring this up.
Uh-oh.
I worked with Danny Pasqua when I worked with when
you worked with the White Sox. Spit it out, man. You gotta say it.
Yeah. It's okay, DJ. The first step is admitting it.
Oh, let's just leave it at Danny's a good guy. That's a great pick. I'm gonna go with Ron Kittle.
Nope.
That was gonna be my first pick too. Ozzie Guillen.
Nope.
Oh gosh. Ozzie Guillen hit one home run probably in his career. He closed his eyes and probably hit it.
Let's see. Steve Sachs.
Nope.
Oh, Harold Baines.
Nope.
Harold Baines.
No?
George Bell.
Let me give you a no.
Sammy Sosa.
No. Let me
That would
give
be
you
a good one.
his
Okay.
number is 35.
Frank Thomas.
No.
Yeah, Frank Thomas. No?
Oh,
Paul
yes,
Konerko?
Yes.
It is Frank Thomas?
Yep.
Why did we not go with the obvious answer on that one?
Well, I thought Frank Thomas didn't debut till there's Taz, closer to the mid-90s. So that's what had me. I was going away from Frank Thomas because I didn't think he debuted that early.
Yeah, he was either first or second year by 91, I believe. He came up in the late 80s, early 90s there for the White Sox. And obviously the face of the franchise forever there is Frank Thomas, no doubt. So I got two. The first one is for you, David. As a result of the 1919 White Sox throwing the World Series, shame. Who does that anyway? Anyway, whatever. How many White Sox players were banned for life, David? 10, 6, 8, or 9?
I know this one.
8.
Yes, that is
Yep.
true.
I've seen the movie, DJ.
Yeah.
8
Yes,
and
Dad. You got to fulfill the dream.
out.
I didn't even I knew you'd get this one, but I just wanted to bring that awesome moment in history up for White Sox fans because, what a great memory. That's just great. Good job, White Sox. You didn't want to win it.
I was watching a documentary before we came on the show here on PBS, I didn't realize, like, baseball used to be, like, super corrupt.
Super
corrupt. As a matter of fact, the American League, they had a problem when it first came out with fans just, like, fighting and stuff and riots and that kind of thing. Who knew? So, anyway, that was a dark day. But, you know, there's several Shoeless Joe should be a Hall of Famer, DJ. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I agree.
That's a whole other episode that I could fight you on. And so, Lindsay, my trivia question to you, Lindsay. Who is the White Sox all-time home run leader? Is it Frank Thomas or Paul Konerko?
Ooh. Frank Thomas or Paul Konerko? Oh, man. I want to say Frank Thomas was up there.
Both definitely had over 500, I feel like. Konerko?
I want to go with Paul Konerko.
No, that's incorrect. It is Frank Thomas who hit over 500, and Paul Konerko had over.
Konerko have over 500?
No, he was at over 400.
Oh,
David,
400.
the thing that's crazy about Konerko is he hit over 400 home runs and was off the ballot in the first year of eligibility. He was gone. Under 5% for a guy with under 400.
Don't get me started.
Is wrong. Aramis Ramirez being off the ballot the first time is wrong. That was wrong. Like, I mean, don't kick those guys off the first ballot. That's ridiculous. They're not players that it should be kicked off the first time. They should at least be given a little bit of a run there.
I agree.
That's unbelievable that Paul Konerko got kicked off so bad. So whatever.
Terrible.
So, guys, it's that time of the show. It's prediction time. And with Eloy out, this actually made this a little tougher than I thought. So, Lindsay, what's your prediction for the White Sox?
For the division?
Yes.
For the division, I honestly think we're going to end up second in our division.
I can see that too, to be honest with you. So you're saying second place? Are we going to be a wild card team this year?
Yeah. I think so. But
right.
I think our only struggle with not being first is going to be the Twins. I mean, that's just always been our struggle. The Indians, don't have to worry about them, but the Twins, it's just, I
think the Indians are going to be sneaky too. I think they're going to be better than people think, but we'll see. We'll see. So second place, possible wild card team. DJ, what say you?
Second place as well. However, missing the playoffs, not getting the wild card slot.
No.
Because
whatever.
The wild cards will come from the other two divisions. They will not come from the AL Central. It's going to be the Twins.
The AL East is only. Bull.
Wow.
The AL East is loaded. AL East has three awesome teams. Three better teams than anybody in the AL Central. There's three teams.
The Rays are selling
East.
off. The Blue Jays have already started to crumble. They lost Kirby Yates today. The second team's not coming from the East. I'm going to say that the White Sox are winning the division in spite of the Twins. Yep, I'm going on record. I'm going to say it, even without Eloy. The Twins lost Rosario. And while I like the Twins' rotation, can we really believe in Kenta Maeda that he's going to be an ace again? I can't believe that, DJ. Former, 4 ERA with the Dodgers. I'm just not buying it. Michael Pineda. Let's see. I do like Barrios pretty well. J. Happ is the 4 starter. Not happening. I hate that the Twins got column A, but their bullpen is not as good as my boys, the White Sox. So, therefore, the White Sox will be in the playoffs, but I think there's a good chance they get bounced in the first round.
Oh.
I agree.
Oh.
We'll see.
Okay. I'm not sold on it. I'm still saying they missed the playoffs.
Like the Cubs will even make it.
Cubs are going to win that division. They're going to win the division. So the best team in Chicago resides on the north side, baby.
Oh, they are terrible this year.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a sell-off. Some team's going to have a nice, shiny new third baseman. a nice shiny new shortstop, and a nice
Yep.
shiny new first baseman by July the 31st.
Javier Baez.
Yep, they're all leaving. Hendricks will probably be wearing pinstripes by then. It's going to be a complete sell-off. But
Wow.
hey, DJ, you'll still have Craig Kimbrell because nobody will
No,
take him.
Meh, he's okay.
Wow.
All right, DJ. So did we have any White Sox fan win Tennessee Temple baseball?
We did not. I'm gonna get
come
some.
on.
Yeah, none of that happened in Tennessee. We didn't have any Southside fans, unfortunately for you two. I'll give a shout out to my high school coach, Jim Schmidt, who's a huge White Sox fan. And I razz him all the time about the White Sox, So, Coach, I hope you enjoy this podcast tonight. I know I've been razzing him the whole night. You deserve it. So, Mike Kane, Ivan Carell, one of my former players, also big fans. Tyler Vickroy, my brother-in-law. Mitch Dunlap, Brian McGrath, guys that I coached in high school as well. Brent Kittle, my assistant coach. Hank Vaughn, my assistant coach, who also is a friend of the show, was on here with us talking White Sox a little bit for an episode for us. Jessica, my sister-in-law.
Yeah, Jessica.
Rick and Carrie, my mother and father-in-law.
Yeah.
The lovely wife, and Lindsay. It's too many, though, David. Too many shout-outs there. It's ugly. And I got a ton more. I could have kept going. And I apologize if you're watching this. I should have mentioned you. But I shouldn't mention anybody being a White Sox fan. So if I didn't mention your name, consider yourself, just passed over on that one because you don't want to be embarrassed when they finish in 5th place in the AL Central. So.
Oh yeah, to all the Cubs fans. Yeah, to all the Cubs fans, I'm sorry for your team this year. But
I'm not sorry. It's going to be a rough year on the north side. Good year on the south side. So.
All the White Sox fans, yeah.
All right, so I guess it's time to wrap it up. Please like and subscribe to our page on YouTube, Frenemies, and check us out. I think our next one is, remind me, DJ.
Blue Jays with Kearns tomorrow.
A little bit of fantasy talk as well, so you won't want to miss that. DJ will be wrong as normal. When David Bodie made it in the top 10 second baseman, that is up there with the Pat Burrell story. I'll never forget it. So.
You're a good one.
All right, guys. It's good to see you guys again, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Night, everybody.